Pay-per-click free ads. Now, in this particular module, I'm going to talk about a certain strategy, a technique that you can use in order to get your pay-per-click ads for free. Now, sometimes it requires times as affiliates to start really thinking out of the box as far as gaining traffic towards our CPA offers. So this is kind of a system that I'm working on, that I'm devising on to leverage off of free advertising from services like Google AdWords and ClickServe, AdBrite, and other pay-per-click services where you can use image ads. And I'll kind of take you through the walkthrough and the logic behind this particular strategy that I'm starting to employ. Now, I was going through my one of my Google AdWords accounts one day, and I was looking at a particular campaign, and I was kind of looking at the impressions, the clicks, and the click-through rate. And when you look at this, it's about this particular campaign had about 4 million impressions on the content network, and it had about 13,000 some odd clicks. And it really got me thinking, because when I'm looking at this number, I'm realizing that Google had given me literally 4 million advertisements. Although my the click-through rate was 13,000 people, so the people who finally followed through on the advertisement was quite low compared to the 4 million. The fact of the matter is especially when you're using banner ads on the content network or banner ads on any other pay-per-click platform, the possibility to get all this exposure from all these pay-per-click search engines is really immense when you think about it. I mean, like 4 million impressions. Now, if you look at that on a cost per thousand basis, if you were to buy banner advertising that was specifically targeted, you would roughly have to pay anywhere from $10 to $15 per 1,000 impressions. So if you take, let's say, $15, and I'm talking about extremely targeted traffic, $15 times 4,000 would be roughly about $60,000 you'd have to pay in order to get 4 million targeted impressions. But services like Google are actually giving you like 4 million impressions on their content network for free. You only have to pay until somebody clicks. So what does that mean? That means you have to really think about going back to direct advertising. And it went back in my mind when I started thinking about direct advertising in the late 80s and early 90s, when I used to I was trying to get involved in direct advertising when I was in my mid-teens, and I used to read a lot of ads in Entrepreneur magazine. And one of the things that stood out in these display ads in Entrepreneur magazines, that they normally would have a headline, a short description, and they always included in that ad, in order for the call to action back then, I mean, there was no such thing as internet or anything like that, so you couldn't put a domain name or anything. The call to action then was always a phone number, and obviously the best thing that obviously worked was a toll-free phone number. So now if you're starting to think on the lines that I'm thinking about, if you had 4 million impressions given to you by a pay-per-click service such as Google on the content network, where you can you can create these image ads to model display ads, such things in Entrepreneur magazines, how many people do you think would actually look at that phone number and call? So this is something that kind of went through my mind, and I really started thinking about it, but I knew that the only thing possible way to do is to test it. So what I did was I ended up going out and getting a toll-free 1-800 number and setting up a service, so that way people would call, and I could pitch to them the CPA offer within the voicemail. I would set up a voicemail. I wouldn't obviously handle the call live. I would open up a voicemail in order to get the person to first of all call the toll-free number, then listen to the voicemail, and hopefully take action on whatever was in the voicemail. So like I mentioned, on even a conservative level, where if you were even to buy banner advertising on a completely untargeted level, you could pay as much as 50 cents per 1,000 impressions. That would still cost you $2,000. So keep in mind that this could be theoretically a good way, number one, to brand whatever you're doing. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be for CPA. If you just want to go out and just get brand recognition, you could get 4 million impressions and not even pay a cent if nobody was to click on your ads. So what I did was I placed a toll-free phone number in an ad. So one of the things that I did was I looked at what was really popular back in the 1990s. Because if you remember, back in the early 1990s, what was really popular was 1-900 numbers. And that was people actually phoning in to get content from 1-900 numbers, and that could be anything from horoscopes to jokes to astrology, which is the same thing as horoscopes, to dating or flirting, and many other sports tips or sports stats, and many other services that were offered on 1-900 numbers. So if you think about it, if people are willing to pay up to $1 to $2 per minute just to listen to one of those services, they're going to be more inclined to call a toll-free number in order to get content, whether it's entertainment or solid advice, through a toll-free number. So what I did was I set up a toll-free number, and I created it based on jokes, because I have a database of literally thousands of jokes that I could place on voicemail, and have people call in, listen to the joke, and obviously listen to my advertisement before the joke or after the joke in order to kind of monetize off of this free traffic. So what I did was I initially created a 300 by 250 image ad, and it was simply a text ad, and it says, "Having a bad day? Dial for a free joke and laugh it off." And then I put the toll-free number in. But here's where I started getting a little bit clever. At the bottom of the phone number, I put "Get a free Apple iPhone" for calling, because there's plenty of CPA offers where you can offer for them to get a free iPhone, free iPod, free Google phone, free Visa card, free $500 gift card, or even there's also a lot of sweepstakes emailers that submits where they could win a plasma TV, win a Mac Mac Pro or whatever. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of weave your message around a particular CPA offer in order to monetize off of it. And what was happening was, and I'll put a recording of an example recording of a joke that I placed on this phone number in the members area, so you can kind of see where I'm trying to pitch whatever I'm trying to promote on the call, and kind of get a feeling for how I was trying to monetize iPhones by, first of all, pitching an iPhone offer just before I supplied the joke. The one thing that you got to remember is in order to measure this effectively, what you got to do is you got to go out and you got to register a domain that's particular to this particular campaign ad that you're running. If you want to measure who's calling the 1-800 number and who's filling out the offer, register a domain that revolves around whatever CPA offer that you're promoting, and then track it or code it. Or what you should be doing is forwarding that. And you don't even need a website for this. A service like Namecheap or GoDaddy will allow you to do URL or domain forwarding to anywhere you want to specify. So you can literally redirect your domain right through the domain, or right through the affiliate link that you're going to pull from the CPA offer. And all you have to do is make sure you track on the sub ID that it came through on the 1-800 number. You could put in your sub ID 1-800, and you know that anytime a lead is generated, it was generated off of the free traffic, off of the toll-free number. So on the next page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the service that I use in order to deliver the content over a toll-free number. I found this company after doing a bit of research because I found that they had the best bang for the buck, and I'll take you through kind of a walkthrough on how their service works by logging into my account in a separate video. Now, I knew this was working. I used gotvmail.com, and I knew the service was working because if you look at here, you can see people who are calling in, and you can see here from their, the date that they called, the time that they called. Even the service even supplies you their phone number that they called from and how long they were on the phone call. So you get full statistics and call history with a service like GotVmail. Now, GotVmail has 3 different plans. They have a starter plan. You can literally get started at only $9.95 a month. They give you 1 toll-free number, unlimited extensions. All the features are included. They have a $49 plan for 2,000 minutes a month, and then they have a $200 plan for 10,000 minutes a month, depending on your call volume. So now, we'll kind of go through the options in a separate video of what they provide for you, because there's so many ways, if you're really smart about how you can take advantage of all their different features and how you can make money. Because even if, let's put CPA aside, even if you had a call center and you're promoting a $1,500 product, you could literally have people calling into your call center. Talk about a targeted customer. You're not even doing any outbound calls. You're having people call into you, and if you have a good system or sales process into place, you could literally make anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500, depending on what your product is, that you're promoting in your call center off of free traffic. You're only literally paying for if anybody does click on your ad. And the best thing you want to do is, and that's the balancing act that you have to play, you have to make sure that you're developing at least a decent enough click-through rate on the ad versus how many impressions you're getting, especially on Google, because Google has a quality score on their content network. So when you create your image ads, you want to make sure that you're getting at least some clicks so that you're getting a good, at least a decent quality score. So there's going to be a minimal cost. With obviously the call to action you want to be is you want to direct people to call the 1-800 number. But even though you're going to get some clicks, you want to still keep the message consistent. So what I've done is if anybody clicks on the message, they still go to a website that is a joke website. But on that website, I've plastered a variety of different banners that point to the free iPhone offer. So keep that in mind. Still give a good user experience. Still give what is promised. Because even though that they're clicking, you could still, you could still monetize off those paid clicks by still offering the iPhone offer on the other side of the page. Now, what are other possible sources of free traffic? We already covered Yahoo Ready, which is Yahoo's image ad platform where you can take advantage of it. I mean, they give you, literally millions of impressions a day. That's how lucrative that can be as far as your image ads are concerned. There's services like Clickster that also have a lot of image ad inventory with very, very low click-through rates that you can take advantage of in AdBrighton. And then there's literally tons of other cost per click places where you can get image ads and you can take advantage of it. Now, this might bring up some ethical concerns, and some people, that might come to the conclusion that putting a 1-800 number on your image ad is literally stealing from Google or stealing from the site publisher who could be in the AdSense program, who could be running that Google AdSense ad. But the one thing you have to understand, there's no stealing involved because you're not taking away, you're not taking any traffic away from the site because people are not leaving it. They're literally picking up the phone and they're calling the 1-800 number. They're not leaving the website. They're only leaving on the website when they actually click on the ad, and that's the arrangement between Google, the publisher, and you, the advertisers. That when somebody clicks on the ad, that they're now leaving the site publisher site, but the publisher is getting compensated for that click via your ad cost. But with a 1-800 number, nobody's leaving any website. There's no traffic being stolen or anything like that. So the other thing you got to remember is advertisers like Google would not approve your ads if they did not like it. I mean, if they didn't like the practice of people putting phone numbers on their ads, they would not be approving my ads. And I mean, I can't say that this is going to continue on. Google might clamp down on this if this becomes, immensely popular and people or publishers are starting to complain and notice that, people are not, the click-throughs are dropping and people are not clicking on the ads but rather calling in. But I mean, while Google's allowing it, I don't see why it's not a strategy that you wouldn't want to take advantage of. The other thing you got to remember is that you could create an image ad, and even if you didn't put a phone number, some consumers might not just click. They might not click because they're skeptical. But once you put a phone number, some consumers might be more inclined to phoning up and actually going through the trouble of that rather than clicking. So it's kind of going back to the when I talked about on advertising on the content network to make sure that you have image ads and that you also have text ads because you want to fill all forms of inventory. Same type of theory here. You want to put a phone number and you want to allow them to click because you're filling both forms of inventory where some people will only call the phone number whereas some people will only click or some will do both. So that basically wraps up this particular technique as far as getting free advertising from pay-per-click search engines that allow you to run image ads. So I definitely want you to check out the next video, which is kind of a walkthrough of Got Vmail and some of the things that you can do there.